This week, we are going to be learning about the CSS box model, and we'll be learning how to change the positioning of different elements on our page. And we will be covering our first responsive layout called Flexbox. And so you will be going through readings that are focusing on those specific topics. Okay, and so we'll talk about a traditional box. We will talk about a flex box, and then we will talk about how to style them. Okay. And the lecture demo kind of pulls all of that together. So we start with what is a virtual box? Uh, what exactly are we looking at? How do we determine the size? Okay. How do we change the alignment? Okay, so we talk about how things are aligned in pages. We talk about using the display property to change that alignment. Okay, and then we get into the concept of containers, which are considered parent elements and child elements. So any tag that contains other tags, okay, is a parent, okay, or a container. So this is a container, and then the tags that are inside are children. Okay? And we can style the containers and we can style the children boxes. And so that's what we talk about here. Okay? And then we get into the two different box models, traditional versus Flexbox. And so I've got lots of links out for you guys to practice. We go through the different positioning schemes. Okay, and so this is a lot of great information that you will actually be using all semester. And students really like the Flexbox. So it's kind of an easy, responsive layout to apply. Okay, so there's a lot of, different CSS properties you can use, but you don't have to. All of the CSS properties are just for customizing it. Okay. So you can kind of read through. I do encourage you to go out and practice because that is how you're going to learn. When you're done with the lecture demo, you are going to do the textbook assignment. And the textbook assignment, as always, is going to be more directive. And so you're going to do a folder, you're going to download some files, some graphics, and some CSS. We're going to start with the traditional box. So you're going to be opening a page and modifying the CSS. And to help you guys get the idea of parent and child, you can see that I actually created an ID and called it parent. And then for the um, elements that are inside the parent, I created a class called child. And here you can see, what the CSS is for each. Okay, so as we go through here, you'll see what that looks like. There is going to be a little problem with this float layout that you're going to fix. Okay, and here's the fix for that. Okay, so as you work through this, you're going to be creating that page. And then you are going to open up another file, or actually going to make a copy of that farm file that you were just working with, and you are going to name the copy farm flexbox, and then you're going to change the CSS and convert it into a flexbox. Okay, and so then this just walks you through doing that. You're going to work with some absolute positioning as well. Okay, and so this does a pretty good job of, walking you through everything. What you need to be a little careful of is follow the directions as far as naming the files. So when it says to copy the file and give it a different name, make sure you do that. Okay. And then you're going to work with a song snippet file. And with this file, you are going to be using what's called a combinator. And this is going to be a flex box. Okay. So as you go through here, we can actually change the order of the boxes. We can, do a little customizing of size. So you're going to learn how to do that. And then you'll turn everything in. Okay, and submit done to the Dropbox. And then for the lab, you guys are going to be doing your own traditional box and your own flex box. And the content can be the same. In fact, you can go through and create the traditional box. You can save the HTML under a different name, and you're going to have an external style sheet for this. So then you can change the name of the style sheet and you can convert it over into a flex box. And so this structure you can actually copy, paste, and use. So this is kind of the structure for the page. I made an example. Okay, and so you can do something similar. Or, you can go off and, I mean, literally, you guys can do it on whatever you want. Okay? If you like cats, you can have virtual boxes with different pictures of cats. I mean, you literally can do whatever you want on this. Okay. Um, but this is an example of the box, and here's an example of the CSS. And if you want to use that same content, it's just really important that you save your changes and then you make a copy and change the name into Flexbox. You make a copy of this and change the name. And then you can go and convert it over into a Flexbox page. And the Flexbox page works a lot different. So this is not a Flexbox. This is traditional. So when we look at it, you can see that, as the screen gets smaller, what happens to the boxes. Flexbox is completely different. Okay, so let's look at that one. So you can see right away it looks different, okay, because the sizes are flexible. And so when I adjust the size, it's the size of the boxes that change. Okay, so that's Flexbox or totally different than traditional. Okay. And those are the two exercises that you need to do for the lab. And once you're done, you are going to link everything in. Okay, so we'll have your Lesson 6 textbook assignments. You will have the two boxes for your Lesson 6 lab. Okay, and then you will get everything transferred up to the web. And you'll come in here and you will submit done. Also, sometime this week, um, I would like you guys to check in with me. So that gives us a chance to get to know each other. And so ideally, you would come into my live stream hours, but if that doesn't work for you, it's perfectly okay to submit it here. Okay? Or you can email me. But the agenda here is I want to know what questions you have. I also want to know what learning activities you like best and which ones you don't care for as much. Okay. And so I do have my live stream hours here, and you can just pop in. We can go into a breakout room. It gives us give you a couple minutes to talk so we can get to know each other. But like I said, if that doesn't work, I know a lot of you are working. It is perfectly okay to, submit the text or email me. Okay, so we'll have another one of these a little later in the semester. Okay, so this is our first one. Okay, and it is worth points. So it's kind of an easy 15 points for you. The last thing in here are resources. And so if you want to get a little bit more practice with Flexbox, this is actually a fun game. It is called Flexbox Froggy. So this gives you this gives you practice using some of the different CSS properties and moving the your little frog friend around. Okay, but you'll see there's a lot of different things you can do. Like this is very interactive. So we have row. You can see what row reverse does, what column reverse does. Um, and for some people, that will really help them understand what these different commands do. Okay, so I encourage you to use those resources. Um, and if you have any questions, if you run into any problems with styling or anything like that, happy to help you. Just reach out and let me know. And have an awesome week.